Since we have understood that what is IoT, and we have also discussed the various types of IoT. So now it's time to discuss some very common examples of IoT devices that we all should be knowing of. First of all, the very common example of these IoT devices that we use is for the home security. The key driver behind this smart and secure homes, that is IoT only. A variety of sensors, variety of lights, alarms and cameras, all of which can be controlled with the help of a smartphone. They are connected via the IoT devices to provide this 24/7 security. Today, how are our homes so secure? Why are they secure? They can be made very much secure with the help of these IoT enabled devices. So the key driver behind these secure homes is IoT only, because we have the cameras at our home in which we have placed the sensors. We have the lights, we have the alarms which can send a signal related to any malicious activity if it's happening in our home. So how are these our homes made so much secure? With the help of IoT enabled devices. We have these cameras, we have these alarms, we have these devices in which all we have connected the sensors. Now these sensors will, whenever they will detect some kind of signal, they will intimate us of the signal over our smartphone. So that makes our home very much secure. So one common example that where we can use these IoT enabled devices is for the purpose of home security. Secondly, activity trackers. Now these activity trackers, they are sensor devices that can monitor and transmit the key health indicators in the real time. You can today track and manage your blood pressure, your appetite, your physical movement and your oxygen levels with the help of these activity trackers. One example of this is smartwatch. Whenever you're going for workout, you can wear your smartwatch. It will keep on detecting everything about your body. It will keep on detecting your blood pressure, your oxygen levels, then your number of steps that you have done, and it will keep on counting your pulse rate and everything. So all these things about your body can be tracked up with the help of this smartwatch. So these active kind of activity trackers, these are all sensor devices which monitor and transmit the key health indicators in real time. In real time means currently, whenever you're doing those activities, this is happening. So another example for this IoT is this activity trackers. Then we have industrial security and safety. These IoT enabled detection system, they have sensors and they have cameras. They can be placed in the restricted areas to detect the trespassers. So for the purpose of safety of the industries, today we can use these IoT enabled devices. These sensors and these cameras, they can detect the movement of any trespassers who is passing on into the industry. So they can very well be used for the industrial safety. They can be used to identify the pressure buildups and small leakage of hazardous chemicals into the industries, and even fix them before they become the serious problems. So if we have industry, we have number of chemical industries, pharmaceutical industries where there is the pressure can be detected with the help of these IoT enabled devices. There are sensors which can detect if there is any leakage of any hazardous chemical, and it will be immediately intimated into the any reference person. So this industrial security and safety can be very much, it can become very much easy with the help of these IoT enabled devices. Then we have the next one, that is the augmented reality glasses. Augmented reality glasses, these are the wearable computer enabled glasses that help you get the extra information like the 3D animations and videos to the users in the real world scenes. The information it is presented with the help of lenses of the glasses, and it can help user access the internet application. Today this augmented reality, it help people a lot gaining experiences about different places, different things. These augmented reality glasses, if we wear, it will capture the virtual real environment as well as the actual real environment. So these are again some augmented reality glasses. They can be used to gain some real time experiences of any particular place. So this augmented reality glasses, this is again, how is this happening, how is this capturing this real environment, and how is this capturing this virtual reality? With the help of IoT only, with the help of IoT enabled devices, with the help of various sensors, with the help of various softwares which are working behind this IoT enabled devices. Then the next example of it can be the motion detection. Today we can use the motion sensors. These motion sensors, they can detect the vibrations into the buildings, bridges, dams, and other large scale structures. So if we have inbuilt some proper sensors into our bridges, into our dams. So if there is any kind of vibration onto the bridges, if there is any kind of vibration onto our dams, which if not rectified, or if it is not taken into action at a proper point of time, it may lead to some major mishappenings. So at that point of time, these motion detection sensors, they help us a lot, saving a lot of lives. So these devices, they can identify the anomalies and disturbances into the structure that could lead to number of failures. So they can also be used in areas which are susceptible to, let us say, the floods, the landslides, and the earthquakes. So with the help of these motion sensors, if they are embedded into such places where there are more chances of floods, so whenever some water level it reaches a particular line, a line of control, if it reaches that, beyond that, so at that point of time, that it will be communicated very quickly to the respected person. So at that point of time, we can use these devices, these motion sensors. So these are few examples of IoT enabled device which help us in our real daily life activities. Now, talking about the IoT architectures. Since we have seen that how these IoT devices, they are helping us, making our lives easier. So we should understand the architecture behind these IoT devices. These IoT enabled devices, they are working in a proper architecture. Doing all, we have basically divided them into different layers, and each layer is assigned a proper task. Now there are different types of IoT architecture which have been described by different people. We have the 3-layer architecture for IoT, we have the 5-layer architecture, we have the 6-layer architecture, we have the 7-layer architecture. So here we are discussing the 5-layer architecture of this IoT. The very first layer that we have in this IoT architecture is the perception layer. Perception layer, it includes the physical objects, the wireless sensors network that we call WSN in short, wireless sensor network. We have the sensors. So where we have all these physical objects. Since these IoT enabled devices, they are going to capture all this data. So there are certain physical objects that are required to capture these activities. So these basic physical objects, they are part of our perception layer because they are perceiving these things, these activities. So the physical objects or the sensors that we have, these are all part of our very first layer, that is called the perception layer. After the perception layer, we have the second layer, which is called the network layer. Network layer, it is very much important because here we are communicating whatever is happening. That has to be communicated. Sensors has to detect that motion or that activity, and later on it has to be communicated. So very important layer next we have here is the network layer, where the transmission of data takes place. Transmission, it can be done with the help of 3G network, 4G network nowadays. So the second layer we have in this IoT architecture is the network layer. Then the third layer, which is again very important, that is the middleware layer, where we have the storage part, we have the information processing, we have the actions tracking going on. Now, if sensors have detected something, it is being communicated. So this data has to be stored at a proper place, and it has to be converted into a proper information with the help of various information processing tasks. So this is done with the help of which layer? With the help of middleware layer. So the storage, the information processing, and the actions, they take place at the middleware layer. The next layer we have here is the application layer. We have the smart application and the management, which happens at the application layer. All the applications, now this data or information that we have received, it has to be converted into a proper form of application so that it can be delivered to the user. So this application layer, it has all the smart application and it performs the management of this information. And the last layer we have here is a business layer. Business layer. Now how this data has to be delivered to the user? It has to be delivered into a proper form. So various analytics operation, different types of flow charts, different types of graphics have to be drawn here, so that this data, this information which has come from our sensors at the perception layer, it can be communicated very well to our users. So how is this done? This is done at the business layer. So these are the basic 5 layers that we have into our IoT architecture: perception layer, network layer, middleware layer, application layer, and the business layer. Other than this, we can have now these other layers, like we have the security layer. That security layer separately will perform all the functions related to the security. See, if there is some activity going on, if we are using these IoT devices into the military field, so security is a very important concern there. The security is, if the security is not there, then in that case, this IoT enabled devices, they will not be that much beneficial. So security layer, how have we have to keep our data secure? So this is a separate layer which performs all these functions of providing the security of these devices. We have the cloud layer. Cloud layer, what does it do? Whatever data we have, it has to be communicated at different places. So it stores all the data at remote server to communicate them into a proper format. So there are some more layers which can be part of this IoT architecture, but these are basic 5 layers that are that form the basics of this IoT. Now, let us discuss about these layers one by one, that what actually they are doing. The very first layer, that is the perception layer. In the perception layer, there are number of sensors, there are number of actuators. They are used to gather the useful information like the temperature, like the moisture content, like the intruder detection, sounds, etc. So all this is happening at the perception layer. We have at the perception layer, we have seen that we have the sensors, we have the wireless sensors, we have the physical storage devices. So what is happening at the perception layer? Perception layer, it is used to gather the useful information, like we may be gathering the information related to the temperature, related to the moisture content, related to any intruder detection activity, related to the sounds, related to the pressure, all kinds of activities. They are being tracked up with the help of sensors at the perception layer. Second layer that we have discussed here is a network layer. All the transfer of data, it is done securely, keeping the obtained data confidential. And where are all these activities taking place? At the network layer. All the transfer of data, it is done securely, keeping the obtained data confidential. The communication, the transfer of data, the transmission of data with the help of network, with the help of internet, it happens at the network layer. Then we have the third layer here, that is a middle layer. What is its function? It stores all the data sets, and based on the device address and the name, it gives appropriate data to that device. So that is what happens at the middle layer, collecting all the data set based on the address and the name, and it provides data to those devices. So it all happens at the middle layer. Then we have the next layer we have here, that is the application layer. This application layer, it involves sending the emails, activating the alarms, the security systems, turn on or off a device, the smartwatch, the smart agriculture, etc. So all the applications that are happening, suppose with the help of Alexa we have switched off the light. So that is switching on or off of a device, that forms a part of this application layer. Sending the email from, suppose we are connecting our mobile phone to Alexa and we are using it for calling purpose, we are trying to make some call. So that actually takes place at the application layer. So application layer, it involves sending the email, sending the messages, activating the alarms if sensors they have detected some activity. So now how this activity has to be communicated, that can be communicated with the help of activating the alarm. So this all happens at the application layer. Then we have the business layer. Now the success of any device, it does not depend only on the technologies used in it, but how it is being delivered to the consumer. The consumer, they are ultimately going to use these devices. So with the help of different flow charts, with the help of different graphics, how this information that is being collected with the help of sensors, how this information is going to be communicated to our consumers. This all happens at the business layer. So these are all basic 5 layers which form the IoT architecture. Perception layer, the very first one; network layer, the second one; middleware layer, the third one; application layer, fourth one; and the business layer, the fifth one. So these form the main basic of our IoT architecture.